stay down there if you want to.
Trump's first 100 days gets certified rotten and fresh. The Declaration of Independence dies of embarrassment, and we'll find out why America's GDP is shrinking. Oh, Zappic. So let's get right into it.
Maybe a little disturbance.
Trump's been in office for 100 days, or as he likes to call it, longer than any president in the history of the world. It should be a week of celebration, but tell that to the economy.
Economic alarm bells. The U.S. economy contracting by 0.3%.
Contraction in the economy, first that we have seen in years, in fact.
America's economy is shrinking.
Yes, the U.S. economy is undergoing what economists refer to as a George Costanza. Now, obviously, the economy is a complex interaction of multiple markets, so it's difficult to point to any one factor, but it's all Trump. It's Trump. It's Donald Trump. The fact is, Trump just does not do well with the GDP, unless GDP stands for Get That Pussy! Which, sadly, those numbers are also down. Melania doesn't live there anymore. But even though it's all his fault, this is a great opportunity for him to be a leader, to speak from the heart to Americans who are about to suffer real financial hardship because of his policies.
Somebody said, oh, the shelves will be open. Well, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30, you know? And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more.
Wow, check out Mr. Rogers over here. I can't believe in a span of 100 days we went from we will all be richer than we've ever imagined to everyone gets $2, all right? But if you're sad that playtime will soon be over for your children, take comfort that it's just beginning for the old commander and child.
The president came out swinging and dancing to celebrate 100 days in office.
Trump had so much fun tonight.
He had so much fun.
He seems like he's enjoying himself.
Clearly, he was having a good time.
You can tell when he's on stage, he's having so much fun. He's dancing.
That famous YMCA dance.
It's dance time. They've worked hard and had fun. Isn't that the pursuit of happiness?
No, Laura, it's not. We're not going to be eating cold beans huddled over a fire like, well, at least the president's happy. As long as he's backing that ass up, I think America's going to be A-okay. By the way, that was the first time I've seen Trump dancing from behind, and I gotta say, don't do that ever again. Don't do that. I owe the front button apology. Anyway, it's no surprise that the main story on Fox News is that Trump is late-class loving being president, but as we all know, the American media is just as divided as the country itself. So, depending on which cable news network you watch, Trump's first 100 days were either he's sick or
100 days, Donald Trump has the lowest approval rating of any president in the history of modern polling. Voters across America are weighing in saying, yes, Trump, keep going. Reassessment of Trump's first 100 days, 1 to 10.
A solid 2, nothing more.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 20.
Donald Trump deserves an F. I would give President Trump an A, maybe even an A+.
Fear and pessimism.
Thrilled and excited about disaster.
It's awesome. 1,361 days to go of this journey. Man, I wish we could have 10,000, more days of President Trump.
10,000 more days? That is 27 years. I can't still be talking about Trump when I'm in my late 40s. 30s. It's not that funny. While cable news debated Trump himself, celebrated the big 100 by inviting ABC News reporter Terry Moran to the White House for an interview. And Trump kicked things off by asking the same thing every kid does when a guest comes to the house. Want to see my room?
Hello, everybody. How are you? This is the Oval Office. This is an amazing space. I added a lot to the space in terms of beautification, in terms of modernization.
Modernization? This looks like my great-grandmother decorated the mantelpiece with her great-grandmother's ashes. And I know that beautification is in the eye of the beholdification, but we can all agree that the foam core Gulf of America map is pulling focus, right? Is the Gulf of America having a bridal shower in the banquet room of the Hilton Garden Inn? Because if it's not, get it out of here. But okay, you know what? Show me a few more things in your room, and then I gotta go join the grown-ups.
So you have Ronald Reagan here, you have Lincoln, you have Washington, but you look over here, that's Monroe, the Monroe Doctrine. Why is he up there? I think the Monroe Doctrine was pretty important. You know, it was his claim to fame.
Trump is always in the I forgot to do the reading mode. Man, that Monroe Doctrine, so important. My favorite part, probably the doctrine. And doctrine, as we all know, is a female doctor. But you know what? We can't expect Trump to know anything about a president whose picture he put up. It's not fair. So let's give him something easier. Donald, tell us what the Declaration of Independence is. And remember, this is the document in which we declared independence.
Of course, you have the Declaration of Independence. What does it mean to you? Well, it means exactly what it says. It's a declaration. That's a declaration of unity and love and respect. And it means it's something very special to our country.
Look at Terry Moran's face. He looks like a teacher about to call the school psychologist. This is a great drawing. Stay right here. But of course he'd make that face. Trump said that the Declaration of Independence meant unity. Unity is the opposite of independence. How did Trump find the one time that unity and love is the wrong answer? What makes this even more sad is that the Declaration of Independence is basically the colonies filing for divorce. It's the one thing Trump should absolutely recognize. And all of that was supposed to be the softball part of the interview. It wasn't until Moran pulled up his serious chair that the questions got hard.
Now we have this trade war with China that Moody's and other analysts say is going to cost American families thousands of more dollars per year. There is a lot of concern out there. People are worried, and some people who voted for you saying, I didn't sign up for this. So how do you answer those concerns? Well, I did sign up for it. I said all these things during my campaign. I said, you're going to have a transition period.
Really? That's what Trump said? Trump actually said that? Can we just check the tape on that?
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day
1,047. But first, prices will go so high you'll be sucking D for eggs.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I misremembered. But the wildest part of the interview by far was when it turned to Trump's deportation of Omar Garcia, who Trump says doesn't need due process because anyone can tell that Garcia is in the gang MS-13 by looking at his tattoos.
And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13. Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles. I mean, it's tattoos that are interpreted that way. Let's move on.
Okay, let me just explain what's going on here. Garcia has tattoos on his hand, and someone labeled a photo of them trying to prove that they're actually a code. The problem is, Trump thinks that the labels are part of the tattoo, and he is very, very insistent on it.
Let's move on. Wait a minute. Jerry. He did not have the letter MS1. It says MS13. That was Photoshop. You want to show me the picture? I saw the picture. Maybe they were Photoshop. Here we go. Don't Photoshop it. Don't look at his hand. He didn't have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to you. I want to turn to you. He had as clear as you can be, not interpreted.
Now I understand why he's so proud of that Gulf of America poster. He thinks Gulf of America is actually written on top of the water. Makes sense. And what is so crazy is that Terry Moran kept trying to change topics, but Trump wouldn't let him. I have never seen an interview where a reporter catches a politician in a gotcha, and the politician is the one who says, "Stop trying to move on. I am not done embarrassing myself." But I will hand it to Terry Moran. He held his ground to the point where it actually wore Trump out. And that's when we saw a moment of vulnerability from Trump.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles. Okay? It's such a disservice. Take a look. Why aren't you just saying yes, he does? Go on to something else. Contestant. Ukraine.
Why don't you just say I'm right? Up is down, left is right, Santa's real. And that is Trump in a nutshell. I can't prove the insane things I believe, so just go along with them. Don't believe your eyes, believe the Photoshop. But I for one, will not believe the Photoshop, okay? I will go into the rest of the term with my eyes wide open, staring and watching. Oh God, no! Oh, my eyes, my beautificated eyes!
Donald Trump held a rally and sat down for an interview to mark his first 100 days in office. And you know what? He changed my mind. Before the interview, I thought the first 100 days had been really bad, but after the interview, I thought, oh, I see the plan. The next 100 days are going to make the first 100 days look amazing. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. You know, when Donald Trump first took office, I was pumped because I was promised a new golden age of America.
The golden age of America begins right now. The golden age of America has only just begun. The golden age of America, it's coming now. You can feel it now. Finally, someone is behind the desk in the Oval Office. It's going to protect America and the world. And it's coming now. And I tell you what, it feels great.
Is he talking about the economy or writing erotica? Next time you're in the airport bookstore, look for a copy of 50 Shades of Blood, Day. That sounded like he was doing a commercial for IBS medication. Pretty tired of being bloated and backed up. I used to go days without having a movement. But then I started taking Golden Age. The only medication that stimulates bowel contractions to promote a healthy flow. Flow? I can feel it coming. And it feels great. So we were promised a golden age. Don't die. Just because I turned doesn't mean you're allowed to clown. Well, they did use the second camera. We're here on a good night. So we were promised a golden age, but then we scratched that golden surface, and guys, it turns out someone just used golden spray paint on a big old turd.
A key report showed the economy shrank during the first 3 months of the year. The GDP declined at an annualized rate of 0.3%.
The economy contracting for the first quarter, raising some recession fears. This is how the Dow is reacting, down almost 700 points.
Rising inflation and a shrinking U.S. economy.
U.S. consumer confidence plunged
In April, it's at the lowest level since May of 2020. 69% of adults, 2/3, say that a recession is likely in the next year.
Comments that Larry Fink of BlackRock made a little earlier. He said that most CEOs he talks to think the U.S. is in a recession.
Another JP Morgan paper over the weekend had a headline, "There will be blood." Doesn't sound good. Bookings of container shipments from China to the U.S. are down nearly 50% compared to a year ago.
These shipping containers are not coming from China, they're coming empty.
Inventory on hand right now in the United States will last for about 6 to 8 weeks. After that, shelves will be bare.
Shelves will be bare. Oh my God, last time he was president, we had COVID, and this time he's the COVID. We were too reliant on China for COVID, so this time we're doing it on our own. We're gonna clear the shelves all by ourselves.
Now, I'm no expert on the economy. I use my Econ 101 textbook in college as a surface for rolling joints because it had that little ridge that you could push all the seeds into.
That's right, Gen Z. Weed used to have seeds in it.
Oh, and your life's so hard. But my guess is that GDP falling, inflation rising, consumer confidence plummeting, recession fears soaring, and imports grinding to a halt are all bad, right? In fact, I unrolled one of my joints to read that chapter from Econ 101, and it said, yeah, it's really bad. Things are so crazy, even news anchors can't believe what they're seeing.
We do have breaking news. GDP numbers, basically economic growth for the first quarter of this year. Our first chance to get a glimpse of how the Trump economic agenda is affecting the economy. And if I'm reading them correctly, GDP came in at minus 0.3%, which would be the first quarterly contraction, I believe, since 2022. Am I reading this correctly? Down 0.3% in the first quarter?
Yeah, you are. That's the numbers that we have coming in here, John.
It's very sweet that the news anchors are acting so surprised, but come on.
We all knew Trump was bad with money. He bankrupted casinos, lost $1 billion, and he dresses like a guy selling watches at the dark alley. Also, everyone said what Trump was doing would be bad for the economy. Now it's bad for the economy. Acting shocked by it would be like an ESPN anchor saying, the Mets decided to start a team of Little Leaguers from Massapequa against the Dodgers tonight. And am I reading this correctly? They're down 1,011 to nothing in the bottom of the first? We've seen recessions before, but we haven't seen this specific confluence of factors, rising prices, negative growth, in a long time. What makes it so much worse is that just a few months ago, we had an economy that was considered the strongest in the world.
Experts have been calling the U.S. economy, these are not partisan folks, these are just people that analyze this stuff for a living, calling the U.S. economy the envy of the world. It's grown at a far faster rate than any other large developed economy on Earth. In fact, the World Bank last month not only said that the Biden-era American economy was the world's strongest, which it is, it also concluded that the entire global economy is in better shape because of the strength of the American recovery. New government data showed that inflation was cooling beyond almost all economists' expectations. Prices on everything from cars to groceries are down. Overall prices are down last month on a month-to-month basis, not rising at a slower clip, but actually declining. A study highlighted by the New York Times concluded that America's so-called left-behind counties, once great manufacturing centers and other distressed places that struggled mightily at the start of the century, have staged a remarkable comeback. The job markets are strong. Wages are up in real terms. And today, markets rally, with all three major stock indexes closing near their all-time highs.
Well, thank God we put a stop to that. Who cares about the economy? Trump's doing the important stuff anyway, like renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Not that anyone could afford new maps with these tariffs. Went to my local map store the other day in Atlas. He's the guy who runs the place, and trust me, he's heard the jokes. Said new maps are $3,000 a piece, to which I said, for that much money, I'll just use my phone. To which he said, please, no, you're my last customer who hasn't figured that out. So the economy was roaring when Biden was president. Unfortunately, no one believed him because Biden was only capable of describing how good it was using John Wayne movies not everyone had seen. Gay American economy, I'm telling you, it's like the movie Real Problem, big hit. Great film, starring the Duke. Other countries, their economies are like the movie Real Low. That's a different movie. Also stars the same director. It's not as good. I'm saying, you guys get it, all right?